Good morning, class. All right, so I'm going to go over kind of a review of what you should have been reading this week and going into next week. Okay, today's Thursday. I did pile on some reading. You got some reading to do, and it's all important. I won't hold you to great detail or responsibility, but it's all important. The reason it's so much is because we crammed 4 days into 3 days, right? We had Memorial Day off. That's not a punishment. You had it off. I didn't include any more physical work than you would have for 3 days, but I did go ahead and put in the reading still because I believe you can do it. So I just want to take you through here and show you what's up. Okay. So here is your personal fitness, and you're in week 1, Introduction to Fitness, which is why you're getting so much here and there. Trust me, many of the things you're going to go through in this week, like a hurricane, we will slowly break down over the next couple weeks. As I've shown you already in the video, getting physical, heart and muscle matters, health and nutrition. So we'll be breaking it, and you'll be seeing some of these things repeat. Okay, so for now, in Tuesday's lesson, the first day, you saw and you read about the basics of physical education and exercise. Now, then I had only told you to read the first 7 pages. Pages 8 through 12 would have been day 2. And so we didn't have day 2. That's the part that we would miss. So if you only read the first 7 pages, you're sitting in good shape. If you read most of the 12 pages here, and a lot of these are just pictures, that's good. You want to know the difference between activity and exercise. Physical activity versus exercise. All right, both are good. One is just a lifestyle. That's your physical activity, how active you are, and anything can be considered active, whether it be playing with your kids in the house, walking your dog outside, parking in the back of the parking lot, and walking further to get to the store. You know, those are all kind of just your general overall activity level, and they help to keep you in a little better lifestyle shape. Whereas exercise is associated with a goal in mind. It's planned, it's routine, you're doing it for some purpose, of course, and that's kind of what we're learning to distinguish in this class. So be sure to review these things if you haven't. Physical activity and exercise. I've made bold and underlined parts I think are important. The latter half of this class will be focused on skill-related fitness, but you can be introduced to it right now. Energy levels, and what will become important is your ability to decipher for yourself when you're doing these activities, whether it was low intensity, moderate intensity, or high intensity. You're going to be filling in an activity log, and you're going to have to rank yourself. You can do that one of 2 ways. I encourage first that you do it by your pulse, and we'll teach you that here in just a few moments. But in general, for now, and even after you learn how to do it with your pulse, okay, these descriptions are good indicators, all right? Increased heart rate, profuse sweating, light strain in your muscles, inability to speak. Just out of breath. Hold on, give me a moment. That's probably intense, right? You can still talk, but you're faster breathing, sweating. Oh my goodness, that was so hard. That was probably moderate intensity if you're able to get words out, brief sentences. And any activity probably will be low intensity, and you can have normal conversation, but your heartbeat sped up, your breathing sped up, and so forth. So go through here and get a good idea. These are the kinds of questions right here. You might have seen these on your exit ticket. Right? And the answers are bold here. So if you didn't know what the answers were on the exit ticket from Tuesday, there they are. And see, this is where the second day would start. So I had not assigned this yet, but I would recommend you read it, although I won't hold you to it. The different types of exercises and so forth. This will come into play. It goes along with the first lecture, but it'll come into play a little later on. All right. So then Wednesday is lesson, which is the time I'm recording this is Wednesday. You have cardiovascular or cardiorespiratory fitness. When you open that, again, it's 11 pages, a lot of pictures, so it's not all 11 pages of reading. Again, I've tried to highlight, bold, underline different things, but this is what I want you to see. One, what is the normal or the resting heart rate for your age? Those are general guidelines. And now how to find your target heart rate. Now this is where I want to just take a brief moment. This will take a little bit of math, but not too much. You're going to have to practice taking your pulse. And I had the video yesterday you've seen, or today, on how to find your carotid pulse. All right, and count, or your radial, which is just below your thumb on that side. All right, might take a little while, but once you get it, the better you get at finding it and counting it. You might have a clock or a friend or kid or spouse or somebody take it for you. But being able to count while you are looking at the time is going to be a skill you have to practice so the numbers don't get confused. I recommend that you count it for 10 seconds and then multiply by 6. If you count for 10 seconds and multiply by 6, then you will have that's 60 seconds, and that's what you call beats per minute. Okay, so here you see easy, moderate, and high. I just showed you the chart on yesterday's reading about how you can tell your intensity level. Wherever that went, oh yeah, it was right here. Sorry for all the scrolling. So that's how you can kind of, what we call qualitatively or descriptively tell whether it was high or not. Now, you're gonna actually let your heart tell you whether it was intense or not. So we have this formula and starts with 220. Take 220. Let's just pretend we're all at the ripe age of 14. Hey, doesn't that feel nice? Say it, I am 14 again. Oh, I don't want to relive that moment. Okay, so 220 minus 14, your age, you can put in your age, is 206. So 206 beats per minute. All right, that is a maximum heart rate, and you do not want to be in that range, okay, or at that point. And if so, not for long. That's going to be some pretty intense heart beating. So that's risky. We're going to take a portion of your maximum. You're exercising enough so that your heart rate comes up. That's what we want, but we don't want to be too high. So what is healthy? There's a few formulas out there on the internet, but we're going to use this one. So you take 220 as a starting point minus your age. If I'm 30, 220 minus 30, punch out my calculator, and that's 190. So my number right here would be 190 is my maximum beats per minute, okay? So how do we calculate for moderate and high intensity? Well, let's take 50% of your maximum, okay? So this person who's 14 years old has a maximum of 206. So notice how they just took that 206 and you multiply that by 0.5. 0.5 in the calculator then is 103. That's basically half, right? Half of 206 is 103 beats per minute. That's a minimum value for easy intensity. So if you do just enough activity and you count like 10 for 10 seconds, multiply by 6, and it comes out to be anywhere between 100 and 110, 115, you're probably at easy intensity. Take the same number, 206, and let's do 70% of that level. If you're at 70%, that's 144. And the way you do that with the calculator is you put in 206. Again, for me, it would be 190. Okay? So 190, then 190 times 0.7 equals, and I would write that number down for my maximum value, and that would be the moderate range. Okay? So in this example, 14 is the age, so 220 minus 14 was 206. I took half of 206 to be 103, and that's my minimum value. 70% of that maximum value, that is 206 times 0.7 is 144. So anywhere between 103 and 144 is pretty good, actually. This would be considered my moderate intensity range. I would actually say 100 to 110 or 120 might be the easy. About 115, 120 to 144 would be the moderate. It's a range. You're never going to get an exact number. You're just trying to get a ballpark figure as accurately as possible. High intensity is okay. Okay, so what would high intensity be? That would be about 85% of your max. Again, the max is up here, 220 minus your age. So for this example, it's 206 times 0.85 is 175. Now, if we were at 175 beats per minute, you know you were probably running. You might have even been running uphill, all right, for at least 2 blocks. That's going to get you some pretty high intensity range. And you want to do that probably twice a week. Now, don't start that yet. We're still stretching. We're still doing some light aerobics. We're not even going to try to get to high intensity for another 2 weeks, okay? But you can do it when we get there. All right, so that would be your high intensity range. So here you have your moderate and your high intensity. And you can use this 103 as your. Now you put in your age. Again, take some time. You can pause it, or you have this reading now, and figure out your 50, 70, and 85% maximum rates. And that'll give you a general range when you're first doing your exercises. Moving on, you'll get some more good information, a lot of pictures, some questions that you can expect to see on exit tickets. Okay, I've underlined some more information here I thought was important. All right, again, I won't hold you to all this detail, but the information is interesting and good to know. So the last thing you're going to be reading is Thursday's lesson, which is today, and that's designing a personal fitness. All right, so this is today's, actually. And it's another introduction. You'll notice it's also pretty long, 18 pages, but you'll also notice that there's a lot of pictures in there. Okay, I've highlighted just the same, resistance. Here we're getting a little more detailed information about the kinds of fitness there are, basic training principles, specificity, overload, progression. A lot of these things we will not incorporate, again, for a couple of weeks. But you have this access, and this is where you want it. Okay, so that's an important one there, fit principle. You'll want to spend some special time if you wanted to fast forward to this, but I will make reference of this again when it is important. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. Again, we normally do all this reading over 4, if not 5 days. I know it's only been 3 days. So off and on through the weekend, if you have time, Monday, Tuesday, again, you can always come back. These 3 documents, the basics of physical education or physical and exercise, cardiorespiratory fitness, and designing a personal fitness program are the basis of this course. All right, so you can always come back to these to read and to look over. They're all in this first week. All right, well, with that, I'll let you on to Thursday's lesson. The only other thing, again, you'll be performing your stretch routine for 15 minutes. You'll be designing a personal fitness program, reading what we just went through, making sure you understand that, checking your pulse, learn how to check your pulse. This is the PowerPoint for today's lesson. You'll just go through, scroll through. You can answer the do now and the questions in this wellness guideline. So you'll open this with Cami. I believe I've kind of shown you this. If I haven't, I'm going to show you briefly right now. So rewind this if you didn't catch it and see that I put open with Cami. And when you do, again, here's the do now. Come over here to the left, click text box, click right here, and you can begin typing your answer. All right, and you just click out of it and you put another text box, put your answer. Over here, decrease sugary beverage consumption. What's the benefit of decreasing sugary beverage consumption? Okay, and you can type them in here, and sometimes you have to click twice. That's all there is to this, all right? I'm going to undo these, though, because I want to keep those. And you go through the answers to each of these, so all of these come right from the slides. So you can do it from memory, or you can do it while you have the slides opening. Don't forget those exit ticket questions. And that's what you're doing today for Thursday. And you'll want to hold on to some of this. It'll become important as far as your heart rate and such to what we do on Monday's lesson, where you will be actually looking up now some exercises along with. I'll have another video for Monday. I'll show you all about the activity log. I'll review this exercise here with you and the lessons for that week. All right, I've taken long enough. You guys have a great day.